Joe Bitonio. Joe Bitonio's stumble on that 4th-and-1 play wasn't just a bad moment. It was a lightning rod. The viral clip of him falling as defenders tore through to sack Shedeur Sanders has fans and analysts combing through every frame. Was it clumsy footwork? Or something worse? The Browns' veteran lineman, one of their most experienced players, ended up sprawled on the turf with barely a touch exchanged, triggering immediate outrage and suspicion. Paired with Bitonio's tight-lipped, visibly strained press conference afterward, it's become impossible not to ask, was this a symptom of dysfunction or a deliberate move within a fractured locker room? The play has become symbolic of deeper concerns, whether this organization is actively working against Sanders' growth. From reduced snap counts to strange coaching calls and silent front office decisions, every move around Sanders now feels weighted. Fans aren't just frustrated, they're connecting the dots. In a league where rookie quarterbacks are either groomed or thrown to the wolves, this situation feels like a calculated freeze-out, with Bitonio's fall as a flashpoint. You're watching a critical 4th and 1. Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders takes the snap. Before he even gets a chance to look upfield, the play collapses in a way that doesn't just scream bad execution. It looks off. Browns lineman Joe Bitonio hits the turf immediately, almost too easily. Defenders flood and untouched, and Shedeur gets crushed before he can even blink. The stadium groans. The internet ignites. And just like that, what looked like a blown play turns into something else entirely. A viral moment layered with suspicion, accusations of sabotage, and full-blown organizational dysfunction. Bitonio's fall wasn't just a bad moment. It became the symbol of something fans and insiders have been whispering about for weeks. Is the Cleveland Browns locker room turning against its own rookie quarterback? Let's be honest, this franchise is no stranger to chaos. But this is next-level drama. And it's all spiraling around Shedeur Sanders. The tape goes viral. People aren't just mad, they're suspicious. Bitonio, a respected veteran, just hits the ground like a sack of laundry. Not shoved, not clipped. He just falls. And the defenders are through in a heartbeat.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
It's the kind of moment that, in isolation, might get chalked up to clumsiness or bad footing. But when the rookie quarterback has been getting minimal support, limited playtime, and is constantly being framed as not ready, this kind of breakdown raises eyebrows. And it gets worse. Shortly after the game, Bitonio appears in a press conference. The energy? Off. His body language? Tight. He's visibly uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact, and giving clipped, non-committal answers when asked about the offense to play and, most tellingly, about Sanders. No vocal support. No rallying behind a young QB. Just awkward deflections and a vibe that screams, "Don't drag me into this." Now, press conferences aren't everything, but in the NFL, silence can be deafening. Bitonio didn't need to say anything incriminating. His posture already said too much. Something is clearly off behind the scenes. And then Lou Charles Bentley, a former Brown defensive lineman, and someone who knows how this team operates, drops the bomb. He says the boxes haven't been checked for Shedeur's starting role, which sounds a lot like code for they're not setting him up to succeed. Bentley doesn't accuse anyone directly, but he doesn't need to. The subtext is clear. This might not just be about talent. This could be about internal politics. So let's talk about what the Browns are doing or not doing with their rookie quarterback. Despite all the preseason hype and massive expectations, Sanders is averaging fewer than 25 pass attempts per game. That's low, especially for someone who was supposed to bring energy, athleticism, and a much-needed spark to this offense. And yet, every week, he's boxed into the same role, minimal throws, tight schemes, and zero rhythm. Meanwhile, head coach Kevin Stefanski continues to pledge loyalty to veteran quarterback Dillon Gabriel. No matter how underwhelming the results are, if this was a developmental season, you'd expect them to give their rookies some leash. Let him grow. Let him make mistakes. But what we're seeing is the opposite. A suffocating, conservative approach that feels more like damage control than quarterback development. Fans see it. Media sees it. and the frustration is boiling over. Browns fans are paying premium ticket prices to watch what amounts to a quarterback hostage situation. Sanders was supposed to be the future. Now he's sidelined, silenced, and set up to fail. And when fans express outrage, the media turns it around and blames the fans for apathy. It's classic gaslighting. Deny the problem, deflect the blame, and double down on the dysfunction. It's not just what's happening on the field that's concerning. It's the overall environment surrounding this team. There's a growing sense that young talent isn't just being mishandled, it's being undermined. And whether that's from veteran favoritism, coaching cowardice, or front office silence, the outcome is the same. Sanders is being left to flounder in a system that clearly doesn't have his back. And if there's any doubt about that, just look at the leadership. Stefanski won't budge. His loyalty to Gabriel looks less like strategy and more like stubbornness or fear. And GM Andrew Berry, radio silent. No pressers. No transparency. No real explanation for what the plan actually is with Sanders. The more they avoid talking about it, the more it looks like they're hiding something. That kind of silence only fuels the conspiracy theories. And at this point, can you even blame the fans for speculating? Because when a rookie QB gets fewer chances in half the league, when a veteran lineman hits the turf on a crucial play like he's taking a dive, when insiders are hinting at sabotage, and when leadership won't answer basic questions, it doesn't take a tinfoil hat to say, something's not right. Meanwhile, the contrast with other teams is brutal. Around the league, rookies are getting reps, taking over games, and being given the keys. But in Cleveland, Sanders is stuck in quarterback purgatory. Held back, benched, then trotted out for doomed drives with broken blocking and no rhythm. It's like watching someone try to pass a test with no pen, no paper, and the teacher rooting for them to fail. And this isn't just an internal issue anymore. It's starting to fracture the fan base. Attendance is dropping. People are frustrated, not just by the losing, but by the way the team is losing. The perception is clear. This isn't about wins and losses. It's about trust. Fans don't trust the coaching staff. They don't trust the front office. And increasingly, they don't believe the team is even trying to develop its most exciting young talent. This is where dysfunction becomes dangerous. Not just because it wastes potential, but because it erodes everything else. Trust, loyalty, momentum. And when you combine that with leadership that refuses to engage, a coaching staff that refuses to adapt, and veterans who seem reluctant to support the next generation, you get a culture where players are divided, the locker room turns toxic, and promising careers stall before they even... It's not hard to connect the dots. The Sanders situation didn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of deeper cracks in the Browns' foundation. The Joel Bitonio clip just forced everyone to look. Was it intentional? Was it sabotage? Maybe not, but it's telling that no one can confidently say it wasn't. And when that doubt exists, when your own fans start questioning if the team is actively working against its players, that's a disaster far bigger than any single play. The Browns are at a crossroads, and right now, the signs all point in the wrong direction. Leadership is disengaged. The coaching staff is rigid. The locker room is tense. And the rookie quarterback, who was supposed to be the future, is being set up like a sacrificial lamb until someone in power actually steps up, acknowledges the dysfunction, and lays out a real plan for Shedeur Sanders. The whispers of sabotage won't stop, and neither will the fallout, because this isn't just about one bad play. It's about a franchise that might be eating itself from the inside. If you're tired of watching teams waste talent, if you're frustrated by the silence, the misdirection, and the internal politics, drop a comment. Let us know what you think is really going on in Cleveland. Do you think Sanders is being sabotaged? Or is this just another case of Browns chaos as usual? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns of the NFL's wildest off-field drama, meltdowns, and PR disasters. This one's far from over. But let's dig deeper, because this whole thing with Shedeur Sanders isn't just a messy coaching decision. It's becoming a full-blown referendum on how the Cleveland Browns treat their own talent. From the outside looking in, it's baffling. You have a young quarterback with a massive following, name recognition, a strong college resume, and added factor NFL teams usually drool over. And yet, he's getting treated like an afterthought. fewer than 25 pass attempts per game, in a league that lives and dies by explosive offenses. That's not conservative. That's deliberate. So what gives? Why would a team go out of its way to not develop a promising rookie? One theory that keeps popping up is this. The Browns aren't just mismanaging Sanders. They're actively suppressing his rise to protect the status quo. And that status quo? Veterans. Familiar faces. Guys with locker room pull. Players like Dylan Gabriel who, while unremarkable on the field, don't rock the boat. And if that's true, then what happened on that 4th and 1 play wasn't just a mistake. It was a symptom. Because you don't just randomly collapse on a game-deciding play unless something deeper is going on. Bitonio's fall wasn't just clumsy, it was convenient. Convenient for a narrative that says Shedeur Sanders can't handle pressure. Convenient for a coaching staff that wants to keep riding the safe choice at quarterback. Convenient for an organization that talks a big game about building the future, but keeps doubling down on the past. And that's why fans are fuming. They're not just watching poor game plans. They're watching an organization torpedo its own future out of fear. Fear of change. Fear of player power. Fear of accountability. And the worst part? Leadership's total refusal to speak on it. Andrew Berry has said nothing. Zero public defense of Sanders. No clarification on the team's direction. No explanation of why the rookie is getting scraps of playing time while the team continues to underperform. It's like watching a fire burn while the GM stands there, arms crossed, waiting for smoke to clear on its own. And Kevin Stefanski? He keeps feeding fans the same bland sound bites about trusting the process and sticking with what works. But nothing's working. The team isn't winning. The offense is stale. And the fans are catching on. They see Shedeur get thrown into predictable 3rd and longs with no protection. They see plays that give him no shot to succeed. They see teammates failing to block. Receivers not even trying to get separation. They're not stupid. They know what it looks like when a quarterback is being iced out. And it looks exactly like this. Which brings us back to that viral moment. The fall, the body language, the awkward pressers. When Bitonio was asked about Sanders, his entire vibe shifted. The tension was palpable. The kind of energy you get when you're being told what not to say. When you're towing a line that no one wants to admit exists. And now, people are asking, is there a real fracture in this locker room? Is it veterans versus rookies? Is there resentment over the attention Sanders brings? Or fear that he could disrupt the pecking order? It wouldn't be the first time a high-profile rookie shook things up. But most good organizations lean into that energy. They foster it. They weaponize it. They don't suppress it and then act confused when the offense looks like a wet napkin. And yet, here we are. It's not even just a locker room that's feeling the strain. The fans? They're fed up. Season ticket holders are already speaking out about rising prices and falling quality. Social media is a minefield of angry takes, conspiracy threads, and clips breaking down every suspicious snap. People are putting more effort into film analysis than the Browns' coaching staff at this point. And that says everything. Because when your fan base becomes your biggest accountability partner, it means leadership has completely checked out. They're not communicating. They're not inspiring confidence. They're not even faking transparency. It's just stonewall after stonewall, while the product on the field gets uglier and the whispers get louder. This isn't just a Shedeur Sanders problem. This is a Browns culture problem. And let's be clear, the narrative being pushed right now, that Sanders isn't ready, it's garbage. Nobody's saying he's perfect. But how do you expect him to grow when he's being treated like a placeholder instead of a project? You can't criticize a quarterback's development when you're not even giving him the reps to develop. It's like planting a seed and then yelling at it for not being a tree. Meanwhile, other teams are giving their rookies real opportunities. They're letting them air it out, make mistakes, take hits, learn, because that's what development looks like. It's messy, it's risky, but it's necessary. The Browns, on the other hand, are doing the worst thing imaginable. They're babying the veterans and benching the future. And fans are watching it happen in real time. Every dropped pass, every busted block, every press conference non-answer. It's all adding up to one undeniable truth. This organization does not know how to handle young talent. Whether it's fear, politics, or plain old incompetence, the result is the same. Sanders is being wasted. Bitonio's fall? It was just the spark. The real fire is the systemic failure to create an environment where a player like Sanders can thrive. And if you think this will magically fix itself in the offseason, think again. Every week that passes without accountability from Stefanski or Barry is another week that damages the locker room, alienates fans, and devalues a rookie they should be building around. The Browns are already on the verge of losing the locker room. Next, they'll lose the fan base. And after that, don't be surprised if they lose Sanders, too. Because at some point, a young player with options will start looking for a team that actually wants him to succeed. So, where do we go from here? The Browns have two options. They can keep pretending nothing's wrong, keep trotting out Dylan Gabriel, keep ignoring Shedeur Sanders, and keep gaslighting fans about the plan. Or they can own up, admit the dysfunction, change course, and finally commit to developing their rookie the right way. The clock is ticking. Fans are watching. And Shedeur? He deserves more than this. And here's the thing. This wouldn't even be the first time a promising player got swallowed up by the Browns' chaos machine. We've seen this pattern before. A shiny new talent arrives, the hype is real, the expectations are sky high, and then silence, confusion, decline. But what makes the Shedeur Sanders situation stand out is how obvious the dysfunction is this time. The red flags aren't subtle, they're waving. From the suspicious play calling to the bizarre public silence. It's like the entire organization is running a masterclass on how not to handle a rookie quarterback. Even fans who try to give a team the benefit of the doubt are reaching their breaking point. You can only hear he's still learning so many times before you ask. Learning what exactly? How to lose games with no support. How to smile through sabotage. People aren't stupid. They're watching the tape. They're watching Joel Bitonio fall, like a cartoon character on one of the most important plays of the game. They're watching protection break down with clockwork precision every time Shedeur steps under. Center. And they're watching the coaching staff offer nothing. No defense, no plan. Just more recycled phrases about development and process. And look, Bitonio is a seasoned veteran. He's been in the league long enough to know how to handle pressure. So when he hits the ground untouched on a play where everyone knew Sanders was the one getting the ball, that's not just sloppy. That's suspicious. Now, no one's saying the man threw the game on purpose. But intentional or not, it's become the emblem of a bigger issue. A locker room that might not be on the same page, or worse, doesn't want to be. And that's where things really start to fall apart. Because when a locker room fractures, when veterans are quietly pushing back against young players, or when coaches are favoring their guys instead of the most talented guys, the whole operation collapses from within. That fourth down play? That was more than just a bad block. It was a snapshot of a team that looks divided. A quarterback left out to dry. A veteran lineman not doing his job. A coach who won't take accountability. A GM who's nowhere to be found. This is exactly how talent gets wasted in the NFL. What makes this especially infuriating is that Sanders didn't walk into this franchise expecting a red carpet. He came in knowing he'd have to fight. But no one expected the organization to be the one tying his shoelaces together. We're not talking about a guy who's bombing every start or turning the ball over constantly. We're talking about a quarterback who barely gets a chance to throw. A guy who's dropped into third and long situations with no rhythm, no flow, and clearly no full support from the guys in the trenches. And while Kevin Stefanski doubles down on Dylan Gabriel, a quarterback whose ceiling is practically printed on the box he came in, Shedeur is left running scout team drills, dodging media speculation, and trying to keep a straight face as grown men trip over themselves mid-play. At some point you have to ask, who benefits from this setup? Because it sure isn't the fans. It's not Sanders. And it's definitely not the team's win column. But here's the most dangerous part. The longer this dysfunction drags out, the more it poisons everything around it. Young talent watches this and starts to wonder if Cleveland is where careers go to die. Other players see the lack of accountability and start checking out. And fans? They tune out. They stop buying tickets. They stop believing. Because if the team doesn't care about development, why should they care about the product? This is how a franchise loses more than just games. It loses identity. Right now, the Browns look like a team caught between the past and the future, terrified to let go of the old guard and too insecure to trust the new blood. And in the middle of that tug of war, a 21-year-old quarterback who was supposed to be the next big thing, now standing on the sideline while the organization fumbles every opportunity to let him shine. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The longer they keep Shedeur in this quarterback purgatory, the more damage they do to his development, to the locker room, and to the fans' faith. He doesn't need coddling. He needs consistency, support, a plan, not a coach who won't commit, not a GM who's gone ghost, not teammates who hesitate when asked if they believe in their quarterback. There's still time to course correct, but only just. They need to put him in the starting role, surround him with teammates who actually want to win, and stop playing scared. Because whether they like it or not, the spotlight is on. Every play is being watched. Every missed opportunity is getting clipped and posted and dissected. The Browns don't just have a quarterback controversy anymore. They have a credibility crisis. If you're still with us, if you've been watching the situation unfold and thinking, how is this real? You're not alone. This isn't just frustrating. It's exhausting. Because the answers are right there. Start your rookie. Support your talent. And stop pretending that sabotage is just part of the game. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Are the Browns tanking their own quarterback? Or is this just another case of front office cowardice? And if you were in Shedeur's cleats, would you even want to stay? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns of NFL drama, viral meltdowns, and the moments that make you want to scream into your foam finger. Something's got to change in Cleveland. Until then, we'll be right here, watching the collapse in real time.